Can't see your screen.
Good afternoon, ladies, and welcome to our very first EPR virtual tea party. My name is Remy Babalola. I am part of the EPR network team, and I'm your host for today. Before we go on, can I just encourage everyone to put their microphones on mute so that we can avoid any background noises? Thank you very much. So today we're going to be talking about soup to nuts, the ABCs of starting and maintaining a business. Before we go on, I would just like to give you a bit more information about EPR, as some of you may be new here. So Esther's Preparations Room is a women's network, and it's a platform for professional Christian women to access tools and resources that would enable them to deploy their skills, gifts, and talents in the marketplace. Our main purpose is to build up and empower women to achieve the best in their personal and professional lives. This network is one of the 4 global programs run by EPR, currently operating from 3 major hubs in the US, the UK, and in Nigeria. Now, before we go on, let me introduce you to our 3 amazing business coaches for today. First off, we have Aderoju Opeyemi Ajayi. Aderoju is the founder and lead instructor at the Dolphin Swim School and Aquatic Center. She is a sports development advocate and has a passion for fostering change in the sports industry in Africa. She has received multiple awards, including winner of the WIMBIZ Impact Investment Competition, as well as winner of the African Entrepreneurship Award, just to name a few. She is also recognized as part of the 100 leading ladies in Nigeria. Next up, we have Feyi Shola Ogunfemi. Feyi is an engineer turned wedding planner and the owner of Statue X events. She is a business coach, public speaker, educator, and community servant. She was recently named one of the 31 influential women telling her story and has been featured on Forbes.com, Fox 5 DC, DCTV with many speaking engagements across different platforms. Our third speaker for today is Fumi Onomusi. Fumi has been running businesses in some shape or form for about 22 years. In 2015, she co-founded 3F EV Limited, an award-winning car rental company. The company achieved incredible growth, turning over 6 figures after 12 months. She is also a consultant for one of the Big Four consulting firms, providing expertise in strategy, program, and change management. She is a speaker and published author of 3 books. She's also a wife and a mother to 2 fantastic boys. A very warm welcome to you all. Now, before we dive in, I would like to cover some housekeeping rules. First off, we would like to encourage everyone to mute their microphones, and this is to avoid any background noises as the session is being recorded. Also, we would like to encourage you to turn on your camera and show us your beautiful faces, amazing hearts, and lovely teacups. Also, we would like you to introduce yourself in the chat. Tell us your name, where you're dialing in from. We would love to hear from you. We would also like to encourage you to grab a cup of tea, some snacks, your notebook, and a pen, and let's dive in. Also, if you have any questions, please feel free to post this in the chat. We will collate them towards the end of the session and answer this through the Q&A session. I'll now hand over to the moderator for today's session, Kemi Akindutire. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Remy. And wow, thank you for that wonderful introduction of our panelists for today. And I just want to say a warm welcome to all of our amazing participants. Wow, you've wowed us today. We wouldn't have been able to have this if you didn't show up. So thank you for showing up. And thank you for our amazing speakers. I'm looking forward to an amazing time today. So this is a tea party. I hope I see lovely hats. Please turn on your cameras. We want to see your pretty faces. We want to see your hats. There's going to be a prize at the end for the best hat. So we're looking, or headpiece. We're looking forward to that. So it is a tea party. And so just to kind of find out how much you know about tea or tea parties, we have a little trivia for you, a poll, and I would love for all of you to participate. So I'm going to run the poll right now. Let's see. Think the poll is acting funny. Lami, do you want to help run the poll from your side? So we might need to get back to the poll later. I think we have a technical issue there. Okay, we'll run the poll later. It seems
the poll is actually up.
You can see it. Oh,
yes.
Okay. Okay, somebody ran it for me already. I thought I was going to run it. Thank you for that. Awesome. So can you just go ahead and answer the questions? I hope I'll be able to. I can't see the poll though. That's very interesting. Kind of weird. Technology. So I might need since I can't see it for some reason, I might need, so Lami, I'm assuming that you can see it. So if you can just run the poll and just push it when it's finished, once you run it, can I share the results so we can all see it? Because I can't see it. But I know the questions, so.
Okay, I can help out because I think I can see it.
You can see it. Okay, thank you.
So the first question says, high tea is formal get together for the high class over tea and a light snack. Is that true? 78% said true and 22% said false.
And I can share the answers if you don't mind, so we can tag team on that. Thank you for billing me out there. And you said 72. So can you give us the results again?
Yes, it's actually increased. 79% say, yep, it's true.
Okay.
And 24% said false. And then I think they've changed the answer. So right now we're on 75% / 25%.
So I think a lot of you have to go to more tea parties because the answer is false. High tea, it was given its name because it was traditionally served at higher dinner tables and or countertops, not because it involved the high class. In fact, high tea was actually for the lower class, who actually worked labor and intensive jobs like mines or fields. And the workers will come home after a long day and be quite hungry, and so they'll have a filling meal at their high tables or at their counters. So there you have it. So that's the answer to the first one. So I think I learned that was something new for me too. So I'm glad I had the opportunity to do this. Can you read the second one too for us and give us the results?
Yeah, it says, in what country was iced tea first introduced?
Okay.
And we had 44% said the UK, 19% said China, and 37% said the US.
Awesome. Well, the answer is the US.
Wow.
Actually, yes, in 1904. It was in the United States. Final one.
Okay. It says, trying to, okay. What tea that is still very popular today is named after a British royal, twinning Earl Grey British tea? And I think 80% came up with Earl Grey. Twinning was 13% and British tea was 7%.
Awesome. So Earl Grey is actually the winner. So I think
Yes.
that was the popular answer, right? Awesome
That
job. Awesome job. Thank you so much. I hope you found that interesting. I found it very interesting and hope you learned one or two extra things about tea and tea parties. Welcome again to the Esther's Preparation Room tea party. So again, we're so excited to have everyone here today. Again, thank you, and we've been looking forward to this for a while. So let's go. We're gonna go just get going into the meat of what we're gonna be talking about today in the interest of time. And I'm gonna be the way this is gonna work. I'm going to start off with asking some very specific questions of our panelists, and they will answer. And towards the end, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions, and we'll post. You have an opportunity throughout the session actually to post your questions. So we encourage you to actually use the chat box and continue to post questions as you go along. We have Shala in the background who will be pulling those questions, and so when it's time for questions, we'll actually read out the questions for the panelists to actually respond. All right, let's get into it. So my first question, this is for us to get to know. We read the bios. I'm sure some of you may have looked up our panelists before coming here, which is always a good thing to do. But I want to just kind of go around the room, the virtual room of with our speakers, and get some insight into their journey as entrepreneurs. They're coming from different backgrounds. From the United Kingdom. From a location perspective, we have Fadi from the US. We also have Aderoju from Nigeria. So we'd like a 1-minute brief pitch on what your story is as an entrepreneur. So I'll start with you, Aderoju.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
It's amazing to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. And we all look so pretty. I love the different, variations of the hat. Okay, so let me quickly get to it. What's my story? I typically say that, I'm someone that has turned my passion into purpose and profit. Coming from like from the corporate world, where I just wanted to, have everything working out, perfectly and everything, and then having to leave that and then starting my own business in not a very in a under tight constraints, but I succeeded in turning my passion, which is swimming, into purpose and profit. And for me, that's really, it's achievable to anybody. There's nothing that cannot be, changed or turned into a way of making money. Because when I introduce myself and I tell people like I'm the lead instructor of Dolphin Swim School, I always get a pardon, they was like, what, and because we're not a lot of female instructors anyway, but yeah, that's really my story in brief.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, turning your passion into profit. I'm sure we're going to learn a lot about that and about you. And if I'm correct, do you run the only swim school in Lagos,
Well,
or the
so
leading?
we run the first, yes, the leading swim school in Lagos, and we're the only ones that we focus on women and children. So we're a team of female instructors teaching women and children how to swim.
Wow.
So we're the only one that does that in Nigeria, actually.
Wow. Isn't that amazing? I'm having chills. Oh my God. And I'm sure swimming is your passion. So we're looking forward to hear more about you. Thank you so much for coming. Next, I'll go to Faishala.
Thank you.
Do you want to share a little bit about your journey?
Sure. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Faishala. As mentioned earlier, I actually studied computer engineering in undergrad and college, which was interesting because at the time I had to convince my parents to even let me study computer engineering because they thought my job would get off, would be sent offshore and I wouldn't have job security. So that was the first fight about careers with my parents. After college, I decided to do a beauty pageant, which my mom tried to get me to do pageants all my younger years, and I always said no. But at this point, I decided, let me do it. I moved to New York, let me meet some new people. So I went ahead, signed up for the beauty pageant, and I ended up winning. So it's the only pageant I've ever done, but I won, and I wanted to do a service project and plan this big scholarship ball, which is interesting because I've always had creative outlets. I've always planned events. I've always done a lot of drawing and designing. I loved technical drawing when I was in Nigeria. It was always in my blood. But it wasn't until after the scholarship gala was over and I realized I had no creative outlet, just my engineering job, that I was like, wait, something about my life doesn't feel right. So I did a lot of prayer. I did a lot of talking with friends who were older. And I realized after some soul searching, I wanted to be an event planner. I was scared because as an engineer, I was making a certain amount of money and I had a lot of thoughts about what wedding planners and event planners made. And the two were not really working together, but I decided to just go after it and just do it. I was 23. The idea is you're young, even if you do decide to change your mind again, that's fine. So let me just go after what I want to do. And I enrolled at New York University. So I went there at nights and weekends while working my job and got my certification in event management. And I started the company a few months before I finished the certification and just put myself out there. And that was my first round of learning a lot about marketing and about starting a business, because you need clients, right? You can have a business with no clients, but you need clients if you want to sustain it. And then after moving to Maryland for personal reasons, I realized that there were many people who were working the exact niche that I was in, African and Nigerian events. So I had to dig even deeper in my, my marketing tool set, because when you hit these things, you just decide, am I going to quit or am I going to dig deeper? So I had to dig deeper and learn more things. And those are the things I like to teach about today. So that's just the spiel about me. Right now, I do coach a lot of other creative professionals, and I like to teach a lot of things I'll be talking about today.
Wow. Thank you. Wow. Wow. That was loaded. That was loaded. The journey, amazing, I love the fact that you took some time to really reflect, deeply. And when you found that something was not right, tapping into that creative part of you that was not being expressed, and you needed to make sure that it got expressed. And then you prayed about it and you did a lot of reflection. That's so important. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for taking that courageous step that you took. You said you just did it. That is very, very important. And I just want to, encourage somebody out there who is wondering, who's not feeling right, about where they are, to, at some point you might not, you just need to do it and step out and take that risk. But we'll hear more later. I'm not one of the panelists. So anyways, we'll go to Fumi. Do you want to share a little bit about your journey, your 1 minute spiel?
Yes, sure. Happy to. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Lovely to see all the beautiful hats, and I'm not wearing one. I was going to actually borrow one. Then I thought, living my authentic self, I need to own the fact that I don't have one and just basically own it. So that's why I don't have a lovely.
I love it. I love it.
I am a big believer in just maximizing what we do have and then owning that as part of our journey. So I thought I'll make a little statement with that. But my journey has been an interesting one. And I know that my bio says that, I have been involved in businesses of some shape or form for the last 22 years. That is true. But the truth that sits behind that is that was always, I always had the safety net of a very good job. So for me, the businesses have always been something I dabble into because I have interest in it, or I'm passionate about this or that. The real being thrust into a full-time business without my job as a safety net came 5 years ago when I co-founded 3FEV Limited. And I wasn't passionate about it. And anyone who's close to me knows I don't like cars. I don't like driving them. I like being driven, and I see them as a tool for transport, and that's it. So to then have to start a company in a niche area in the UK, in a sector that's predominantly male dominated, was not doing anything for my juices at all. But this is where my journey over the last 5 years of then taking something, i.e. that what is in your hand, I have a slightly different view of the passion project thing, because that wasn't my opportunity. The thing that I was able to grow successfully, recruiting, having employees and that sort of thing, wasn't based on something that was my passion. It was based on, brought in, start this company, grow this company, and then being able to apply this years of skill and discipline and training, and then putting that through to then grow a successful company. And that's my slight spin on the situation. So I hope to be able to share a bit more about that in terms of what I've learned, and answer some questions maybe.
Awesome. Wow. Wow. I love the diversity and, just the perspectives that our various speakers bring. You're talking about kind of tapping into your passion, and then you're launching a business about that product that you're not even passionate about, and you're applying your experience and the insights you've gained over the years. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Excited. So we're going to dig into, now that you know a little bit about their stories, and we will now dig into some, just kind of gaining some insights and drawing from their experiences and getting a little bit more specific. Now, just as a heads up, I believe a worksheet has been provided to you all. It should be sent via chat, that you can use to take notes as we go along. Feel free to post your questions again, and it would be nice if you kind of indicate who, if there's a particular area that you want, a particular person that you want to direct the question to, that will also be helpful. If not, we'll make it general. So we'll go into the meat of it now. The worksheet, you can download it, I believe, and I believe Shola will be giving you some updates on that via chat. So my first question is, I'm going to direct it to Aderoju. 2020 has been an interesting year for all of us. Think about COVID and just the global lockdown, and we're just all retooling, rethinking, resetting, re-strategizing our lives. And one of the things that we found, I'm sure we've all seen it and heard it on social media, is that a lot of people who dreamt of being entrepreneurs are really, really waking up to the reality that this is the time to get moving, that there's a lot of opportunity out there. We're rethinking about how we do business. We need to, people that had jobs now are realizing that they don't have that. They really need to move quickly with those ideas. What are the things that aspiring business owners should do to build that foundation? It's very important to set that solid foundation for business, because many people start and they don't finish. So I want you to just share a little bit about, those foundational truths, so to say, from your perspective and your journey that you like to share with any aspiring business owner. Over to you, Aderoju.
Okay, thank you, Kemi. So this is it's a very interesting thing for me, because I personally went through this journey, and the first thing for me is validating your business idea. So we all have these ideas, and we have various, especially we're all Christians, so there are times when you're just sitting down and the Holy Spirit is downloading ideas to you and everything. And I believe in, first of all, writing all these ideas down and then validating. Most of us are very, very protective of our ideas. So we just want to keep it to ourselves. We don't want to share it. We think it's silly. We think it's out of the world. But you know what? It's important by validating. It's important to validate your business idea. Now, how do you do this? I believe personally in, taking advantage of your network, your close friends. That's why they are there. Share your ideas with people you trust and get honest feedback. So there are people who would actually tell you that, okay, you know what, this idea, I'm not sure about it. And it's okay. It's actually okay to be able to receive such feedback. It doesn't mean you should go and trash your idea, but receive feedback, the good and the bad. All feedback is good, and one other thing you can do is just carry out surveys. I did that. So when I came up with the idea of having a swim school in Lagos, I knew that there were instructors, but I didn't know if there was actually a swim school. So I randomly just pop it out and be like, oh, Do we know of any swim schools? Do people know how they function? Do we have any? How do they work and things like that? I think it's important to, survey your business idea and then do your research. Now, for me, this is also fundamental because personally, I found out that me running a swim school in Lagos, Nigeria was blue ocean. It was something that has really never done before. And then I had to go and look for people who have done it somewhere else. So I focused on the United States and the United Kingdom. I found out that it's a huge industry in those two countries. And then I did my research. I found out who else is doing it anywhere in the world, basically. How are they doing it? Are they successful at it? What are the pitfalls? I dug deep and I did research on the idea. And that, I believe, is a holistic way of validating your business plan or your business idea, really. That would help you know, okay, should I move on it now? Should I not move on it now? Should I wait? Should I, explore it more and, things like that. The next thing for me is having a solid plan. Now, when people hear about this, they panic a bit like, oh my God, plan, what kind of plan? I personally don't think you have to have a 200-page business plan. I didn't have one. Maybe I'm just, I didn't have one. But what I did was I ensured that most of the information I got when I was validating my idea, it helped me define that business idea properly. It helped me define my unique selling proposition. It helped me define who my target market is. How do I reach these people? What are my costs to start this business and to run it for like a year or two? What are my revenue projections? And what do I need to do to generate business funding? Now, all this can be done in a few pages because you know what? If you have that idea, I believe you also have the resources to flesh it out. You having a solid plan just means fleshing out your idea, picking on all these points. So whatever anybody tells you in terms of feedback when you were validating it, you can bring it into your plan, knowing how to mitigate against some of the risk or whatever that they might have brought up. And I think finally for me, okay, no, not finally, but one thing again is be ready to be all and do all. Entrepreneurship is not a walk in the park. I think most people have this idea. It's really for people transitioning from corporate into entrepreneurship. We tend to think that, we'll have like a team, I'm the CEO and I have, my team of people around me that would, help me. Unfortunately, that might not be the case when you first of all start. So you have to be ready to do it all. You are everything. You are the customer care manager, you are the accountant, you are the salesperson. In reality, you have to be prepared mentally for this part of the journey. I believe it's also training for you because when you see how different parts of your business work, and how you want it to work, you develop your processes so that when you do add on your team, it makes it easier for you to train them and pass on that knowledge because you've been there. And then, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to know how to recruit right, surrounding yourself with the right people. This can never be overemphasized because, you need mentors. And recruiting right doesn't even just mean your direct team, even having people that mentor you, your advisors, people who help you navigate during this critical period. Because I believe the first few years of an entrepreneur's life in their business is very critical because your decision making, everything will be questioned. But if you have good mentors, good advisors, they would help you. So you're not going at it alone. And you know what? Mentors can be found anywhere. You find them online, in your network. I leverage heavily on my peer-to-peer. I do a lot of peer-to-peer mentoring. So I'm constantly talking to people who are around me who, I don't really, sometimes I do it. I mentor, I look for people who have done things ahead of me already as well. But, peer-to-peer mentoring, you'll be surprised at the wealth of knowledge that your friends actually have in them. So I think you should, work on that and secure funding. I think that's one of the foundations as well. Maybe not immediately, but you know what? If you've typically put in some work into your business, you will find investors who will come. Unfortunately, some entrepreneurs look for funding first before even doing every other thing. But that's you are putting the cart before the horse. You have to do every other thing and then have something solid to show your investors. And they see the effort that you have made in, they've seen what you've done, and then they're more willing to give you money because they know that, okay, you've put in some work. They can kind of like trust you that you'll be managed properly. You need to show your commitment, your passion to the business. And this is really displayed in how much work you've put in so far. So I think for me, those are the foundational business tips that helped me build my business to what it is today.
Wow. Wow. You're a hard worker. You did the work, you know, and thank you so much for highlighting that. That's what really stood out to me across the board. There is work to be done. We shouldn't be afraid of that hard work. One of my favorite shows is Shark Tank. And one of the things I always see is, hey, if you've not done the work, you probably will fall flat on your face in that show. Anyways, so I'm going to just, see if, Faye, do you have anything you want to add to the foundational tips? Just a quick tip, if you have any that you were thinking of while you were listening.
A quick tip while I was, honestly, I think pretty much everything that she said is so important. I think a lot of times people just download a business plan template online and they fill out all the 100 pages in the template without even getting clear on who you're serving and certain things. You just want to fill out the template. But I think it has more to do with wisdom and doing the research, getting the knowledge so you can apply it in wisdom. And I think that was a lot of what she talked about, which I think is a good point and is really important. I think everything she said is great. I also 100% agree with the idea that you can't, hiring someone who doesn't know you're hiring someone to do something that you know absolutely nothing about can be your detriment. An example I would have is I used to volunteer with the National Society of Black Engineers because I'm an engineer, and I was the publications chair, and I met a lady who sponsored us with cookies. The cookies were great. They were well branded and everything. So I took pictures and I'm about to post it on Instagram, and I asked her, what's your Instagram tag? Because I know you're doing this for free. I know you're doing it for marketing. What is your Instagram tag so I can tag you on Instagram and Facebook? And she said she doesn't know, that her marketing person takes care of that. Her marketing person wasn't at the event. Her marketing person couldn't give us the information we need to get the people at the event to buy the cookies that she just gave to us for free. So effectively, she didn't get the ROI that she wanted because she didn't know about that area. So I just think that, everything that she said is so crucial. You need to know something about every area of the business in order to apply the staff.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Faye. Thank you. Wow. Okay. Let's go to the next question. I'm gonna direct this question to Fumi. So I think one of the reasons why many aspiring entrepreneurs don't make the move is because they're probably scared, and it takes a lot of courage to really just step out and just do it. From your story, we see that you've taken multiple risks, and then you took a risk and you took on, a project, a company or a product that you were not necessarily passionate about. Wow. What are those risks that that are worth taking? What are the things that we should say, hey, you know what, just stay away from this? What are those mistakes that we should totally avoid if we're thinking about going into business? Over to you, Fumi.
Thank you. The first one that all comes to mind, and I think you talked to this, because there is a huge, there's an expectation that, you do things that you're passionate about, and you have a better chance.
How do I charge? That's my problem. My phone is down. It can't stay on its own.
Can you please all mute yourselves? Sorry, I think we're getting a lot of feedback, and unfortunately, we have so many amazing people on the call. I can't mute everybody. So, all right. Thank you. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So now I was saying that because the expectation is that you're doing something you're passionate about, and that gives a lot of drive. The first mistake, or the first thing I would say to watch out for, is whilst that is the thing propelling you, sometimes that could then also be the thing holding one back, because we build everything around, I love this, I'm passionate about this, I know this, as opposed to thinking about it as you would a business, which is supposed to be completely, I want to say completely agnostic, but that's not entirely correct, because you are the starting point. You've got that vision, you know why you want to do what you want to do, but sometimes you just then need to get out of the way of yourself So not getting that idea. And I think Faye gave a perfect example about the lady who was out there at an event, then didn't have her own social media handle. So there wasn't a clear connection between this is a business and then having the understanding of the follow through. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And then that should then fit into all the actions and activities that you then involve and get engaged with. Because if you see it clearly as this is what I'm doing and this is my end game or my end, my eventual final destination, you're better able to connect activities and events and actions that help you get there. And I know that sounds very generic, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to unpack that a bit later. So for me, that would be the first mistake to avoid. And it would have different shapes and forms. The most important one is continuing to treat your business like a hobby. So, I have lost count of the number of people that come to me to say, oh, I'm starting this new business. And then I ask 3-4 questions and I never get past the third question because it's clear to me that no, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a hobby. We have loads of them. I've had tons of hobbies. But when it's a business, your whole attitude and approach needs to be completely different. You need to be completely professional, even in talking about what it is that you're doing. So it's that, first of all, having that change, the mindset shift in your mind, that complete shift to say, this is a business, and what are all the parts that make this a business? And your communication, your conversations, your engagements then need to be completely aligned with that thinking of it's a business. So that's one thing to avoid. And that's my number one thing, because that's the biggest pitfall that I see that makes it difficult for me to either mentor or engage with people, because I think we've just labeled it wrong. It's not a business. It's just something we're passionate about. So, let's keep it moving, that sort of thing. The other thing is then tied into number one, and I say diluting the passion. This then ties into what Faye mentioned earlier, and I think Aderoju mentioned that as well, because they sort of caught the vision for what they wanted to do. You then grow it into a business. One pitfall to then avoid, especially when you then come into difficulties and challenges with growing that particular business, it's then not letting go of your why. I say diluting the passion, but sometimes in my case, like I said, I didn't have the passion for the car rental business. I'll just give you a very quick background into that. For people who might be wondering, why on earth would you do that? So I worked as a management consultant. My husband did as well. And we had sold a property that we had, one of our properties that we had, and we wanted to invest that in something. Now, because we both had full-time careers, we needed to invest in something that could just be on the side. We wouldn't have to be involved in it. It would just be an investment. So I have to give it to him. And that's why I say co-founded, because the idea of starting an electric car rental company was his, it wasn't mine. And he came up with that idea. So, oh yeah, we could do this. And I said, well, okay, yeah, sure. And as long as I don't have anything to do with it, because everyone knows for me hates cars. But by the time we created the business plan, had to do research, basically everything on Aderoju's list. Sense checking that, talking to banks and that sort of thing. And because it was a completely new idea, it was difficult to be passionate about something that we didn't have any mirror image to compare it with. I sort of then ran with that because that was in my wheelhouse, strategy and strategizing something. So for me, that was a challenge. So I took that as a challenge and then ran with it and started meeting up with banks, started, doing lots of research, going out to the companies, seeing these cars, and that's how the company was then founded. And for the first 9 months, I was doing that and doing my job before I then had to resign, got an office space, hire the first employee, and then it became a proper company. In that period, It took 4 months to get the first customer. And this was a company that we had set up that was bleeding about £6,000-7,000 a month in cost. When you strongly believe in what you're doing, in that period that it takes you to turn things around, you have to have your why, and you have to be strongly and solidly tied to your why. Otherwise, you're going to give up. Not having a plan, I'm not going to say too much about that because Aderoju already really explained that. What I always say about a plan is don't be too fussed about having your day 1 to 1,000 in terms of your plan, but most definitely have your 12-month plan. So if I'm talking to you, I need to know your three pivot points. And what I mean by that is I want to do A, and then my question is, if A doesn't work, what are your pivot points to help you then still get back to point A? So what are the alternative ways to still get to that? And you only get to that when you explore the idea. And exploring the idea is the evidence of exploring your idea is then visible in your plan. So sometimes when you hear plan, passionate business people then tell you, oh, no, I'm just really passionate about this thing. I don't get bogged down with plans. We're just going to run with it. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I see you. You've got a hobby and you're passionate about your hobby. If it's a business and people are going to give you money, like I was going to banks day one, I was asking for, £200,000. I needed to have a plan. I needed to have a clear trajectory and be able to answer the questions when the bank manager said, well, okay, so what happens if you don't have your first customer?
Yep.
What happens if you don't have a customer for 6 months? And those were all things we were then able to plan for. And that's what happened, because the first 3-4 months, there was no customer.
Yeah.
But because the plan had been clearly created, it meant that, there was the capacity to not go out of business until that first customer did come through the doors. So that's what I mean by that. Not properly using marketing. Oh my days, I could talk about this for ages and ages. And, going back to what Faye said as well, people think of marketing as this, big fancy outfit, but everything is an aspect, leads into marketing. Word of mouth, having the proper representation, having the proper email, having the proper, lead time, being able to communicate and having a plan for how people will know and hear about your business and how they will remember your business. This all ties into marketing. So for me, that would be something to avoid if you're thinking of starting a business or you have a business. Even if you don't have a business plan, I always say have a marketing plan. Even if it's a one-pager, you need to say how you're going to reach who your market is, how you're going to reach your market, and what the different ways they will remember you are. And that's a simple one-pager. Don't need a marketing professional to come up with that for you. And you're in the best place to actually come up with that yourself. And the last one is, I say, and I think I mentioned this recently on another call, I said, working in your business. Aderoju made a very strong point earlier when she said at the start, you're everything. You're the sales rep, you're the phone call person, you're the receptionist, you're the business owner. And what I always say is every entrepreneur gets that. The part many entrepreneurs don't get is the fact that you then need to be the business strategist. So whilst you have all those many hats, make sure you're keeping a hat for being the business strategist, i.e. time apart, where you then plan the growth and the development of the business. Otherwise, you're just going to be moving in circles and being quite small time.
Awesome.
So I will stop.
Wow. Yes, that's just so loaded. One of the things, the grounding force of knowing your why is so important, because the trials will come, right? That founder, going back to having that set foundation, you'll get shaken along the way, but it's very important to, again, going back to that hard work, right? You need to do the hard work. You need to get into the details. Awesome. Let's move very quickly, in the interest of time, to our next question. And this is going to go to you, Faye. So starting out is always exciting, right? You know, we talked about that. You know, you have all these great ideas. You have your logo, your website, your idea, and all of that. But, you know, to keep the business going, to keep it running, and to sustain it there for the long haul, it's going to take a lot of a little of that hard work that we've been talking about. And, you know, everybody has spoken about that a little bit. I want for you to go a little bit deeper into just some tips and secrets, so to say, that she has learned through her journey about the work, the character, what it takes to really, really take your business through that journey, as we go from her perspective. So, Faye, over to you.
Thanks a lot. Sorry, I forgot someone muted me. All right.
That's
So
fine.
this is probably one of my favorite topics to talk about. It's not the it's not the cute topics that everyone wants to know about, which is like, oh, how to market, how to post on Instagram. But this is literally how you sustain, right? I think most of us have seen businesses that just grow, come out and someone says, oh, I'm launching a product or I'm launching something. Everybody cheers and says hi. They like the picture. Guess what? 2 days later, it's silent. Because now you just have to focus on the work. So you really have to do a lot of inner work in order to move forward. The biggest thing is that entrepreneurship takes diligence. Entrepreneurship, it requires diligence. It's not just about when you feel like it or when people are cheering you on. You have to be able to work when no one's cheering you on, when people are just asking you questions. And, when people are just saying, oh, what's next? People are going to be looking to you for direction if you're the entrepreneur, right? If you are either leading a team, if you have clients, they're literally going to be looking to you like, what's next? An example is that I'm a wedding planner. Whenever I start planning someone's wedding, I literally come up with a task list with deadlines. And what usually happens is that once they finish one of the tasks, without fail, they come back to me and say, okay, what's next? Even though it's written down. So you have to be willing, you have to be able to have that diligence to even when you don't feel like it, even when you're like, man, I said this already, and all of that, to be able to push through and actually do the work. The Bible says in Proverbs 22:29 that, do you see anyone who's diligent in their work? They'll serve before kings and not just before mere men. You have to be diligent. There's that follow through. Even when no one's liking your picture, even when you're getting 0 posts on Instagram, you have 10 followers, even when you don't, no matter what, you have to be able to move forward. The purpose, you can't only move forward when people are cheering you on or when people are patting you on the back, because that's not going to happen every day. You have to have that inner diligence and be able to build that resilience within yourself. That's critical. And I think that that's something that a lot of people miss, because to be honest, there's some businesses out there that have 20 followers and are making millions of dollars. There's an app I use, Mile IQ, to track my miles when I'm driving, so it's easy for me at tax time. They have 3,000 followers and they've been in existence for 6-7 years, and they are definitely in the $1 million of companies, right? So it's not about people cheering them on. They're just doing the work to do a good job and, and to put their business out there. So everything can't be about the fame and all of that. You have to have that inner diligence to go out and get what you want. You have to have that. What I always say in entrepreneurship is that you eat what you catch. You eat what you catch, that's it. When you have a job, you negotiate a salary and you get that. Even if you don't do a good job, as long as you're not fired, you still get the salary. As an entrepreneur, if you don't go out there and catch something, you're not going to eat anything. There's nothing. So you have to have the resilience to go out there and catch something. The second thing, the purpose of entrepreneurship is profit, not attention. This is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine of this in this day and age. The things even when it comes back to marketing on social media, that's a big way people market. It's gotta be for sales, not just for attention, right? A lot of times people forget that and they're like, oh, this thing got likes, that's great. In my business, yes, I do. And I'm saying this as somebody who has a lot of followers and a lot of likes, all right? My business, yes, I have 40,000 followers. I've posted things that have gone viral and I got 0 inquiries, right? And I've posted things, doing some inner work on my website that, no one really knows what I did, but all of a sudden I've got lots of inquiries. In the past 2 days alone, I got 10 inquiries because of something I updated on my website a few weeks ago in response to COVID-19, right? So now it's not all about attention, it's about sales and profit. That's the goal. And even then, when you are, one big thing I always say is that even when you, again, going back to social media, I think that's the main place people market their business. When someone DMs you and says, oh, hey, I'd like to work with you, what do you do next? Do you just talk? Do you send them a link so they fill out your contact form? Do you send them an invoice? There's so many people literally who have lots of followers on social media, and I'll reach out and say, hey, can you send me an invoice? I'm ready to move forward. And I don't get the invoice, but they're posting 3 times a day. Guys, it's not about attention. It's about profit. It is a habit. I mean, it is a hobby if you are not making profit and if you're not focused on how to make money. Even if it's something, even if you're like, oh, I just want to do this to help people, make the money and donate the money to something else to help other people. It's not a business if you are not making profit. So you need to focus on the things that are going to make you money after you market. For us, I don't really DM people too long. I send them a link to fill out our contact form. That contact form tells them how to schedule time with me, how they can book. When I send people invoices, it has everything there. You can click a button and pay. We don't have to go back and forth. There's some people, people have to chase you down to pay you. They shouldn't have to do that if you're focused on profit. You should make it easy, right? Because that's how you're gonna make money if you make it easy for people to pay you. I've had clients walk away from certain vendors I recommended because they made it too hard. They took forever to respond, and just, I don't know. It's your job to streamline your business and to figure things out as to how you can make money. It's not about attention. You can have thousands of followers and be broke, and you can have a few and have money. So that's like something that you have to think about. That's the purpose of entrepreneurship. If attention is what you want, then be an influencer, right? There's a lane for everything, but business is not really that place, right? Now, the other thing is time management is critical. Oh, so Proverbs 31, that's a chapter in the book that many of us like. It's so interesting when it talks about how there are different things that happen in different times. Obviously, it's a whole chapter, so I'm not going to get into it. But I think about how it says her lamp doesn't go out at night, right? Because that's when she's working. Maybe that's when she's working because she has young children, right? And they're up during the day. So she's doing her work at night. She's set aside time. If you don't set aside time for it, it's not going to happen. For me, if I'm going out with my girlfriends, it's on my calendar. So I don't care what comes up. Even if someone's like, oh, can I have a meeting with you that night? I say, I'm unavailable. I'm sorry. I'm going out with my girlfriends. That's a day I set aside. So time management is key for whatever it is you're doing in your life and in your business, especially if you have like a day job and you're running a business. You need to figure out how to manage your time, right? Tell your clients, I can meet with you between 5 and 7 every weekday. Simple time management, right? And you know what you're doing every day. If you're not managing time, you could easily spend all day doing something that's not important, and then all the important things fall to the wayside and things start to fall apart. That's like a critical thing. And again, this is like inner stuff that we have to do in order to really run a business and run it like in a profitable way. A big one for me also is clarity. I like clarity. When you're emailing a client, I tell them exactly what I want them to do next. Click this button and tell me which package you want. Click this button and schedule time with me, or this and that, and I'm very clear about what it is. If someone says, oh hey, can I meet with you in 2 hours, I'll say, I'm sorry, I'm not available in 2 hours because I've scheduled something else. However, I'm available at this time, and this time. You can select one. Those things are clear, and it's kind because it gives the other person everything that they need to make a decision. I think a lot of times people don't know how to set boundaries, and they think that being nice is just saying yes to everything and then doing everything halfway. And it's like that, especially for us as women, there's a lot of demands on our time between volunteering, between our families, between everything else. You have to know what your boundaries are, and you have to be able to be clear about what it is. Like, no, I'm not available between this time and this time, but I'm available at this time and this time. Or sorry, I can't take this on, as opposed to taking it on, stressing yourself out, and then doing everything halfway, right? I think that's really important. And I think when I think of even Nehemiah, the story of Nehemiah, I love that story so much because Nehemiah didn't have to go and have a meeting with 10 people to figure out what he needed from the king. He knew, it was already in his mind. He already knew what his constraints were. He already knew what his boundaries were. And the thing is that not only does that clarity help you to set boundaries, it also helps you when you recognize the right person that can help you. And I think that that's something that a lot of people get stuck on. I know that we talked earlier about, the first thing you do isn't quit your job and hire a 10-person team, right? You have to learn the different things that you're doing. But even then, in doing that, you'll realize, like, man, if I had someone to just handle my accounting, because I have so many products coming in, so many products going out, I have this and that. If I had somebody to handle just that, and who could do it well, and who knew how to use QuickBooks, and who knew how to use this system and that system, now you're getting clear on what you actually need, which isn't just a random person, but it's someone who has this specific skill set, and really like taking that time to like dissect the problem, which usually happens by doing it yourself, but dissect the problem so that you can find the people who can help you out, right? It's not mean to say, hey, the requirement for this job is that you know QuickBooks, right? That's not a mean thing to have that clarity, have those boundaries and all those things. I think a lot of times we just say, oh, I'm just going to get my cousin to help me. but your cousin's not good with numbers. So maybe your cousin's not the right person to help you with this or that, right? I mean, when I was starting my business, I had some friends who helped me with setting up events and things like that. And it was great, but I always knew it wasn't permanent. I always knew that wasn't permanent. I knew, and I paid them though, but I knew it wasn't permanent because that wasn't their life dream. I knew I was going to find new people, but I knew what I was looking for as I was working with them. And I said, okay, it's got to be someone who's okay with being on their feet for at least 10 hours. It's got to be this, it's got to be that. Like, you have to be able to be clear. For me, I mean, over, and it's something I think over the years, I've met a lot of people who emailed me and said they want me to they want to be an intern. I always send a very simple request. Send me an email. Tell me, and in the email, say, this is why I want to intern. These are the days of the week I'm available. I have to say less than 50% of people do even a simple task, right? And for me, that's a requirement. If you can't follow through, I don't, but you can't, I'm not, because being an intern is actually a lot of work for me because I'm teaching you, so there's a lot and over time, I've learned those things about myself and those boundaries, right? I had someone who called me. I told her to email me. She didn't. 3 months later, she called me and I said, I'm sorry, I can't, because I gave you very simple instruction. You couldn't, and you didn't follow it. And I'm not being mean. I told you exactly what to do. And, I kind of can't keep doing this. So, I mean, the truth is, the goal is kindness, and kindness is clear. Like, being clear with people helps them. Most of the times when I tell people, hey, I'm available at this time, or I can do X, Y, and Z, and I actually deliver when I said I was going to deliver, people are usually happy, because a lot of times people overcommit and underdeliver. But when you undercommit or commit to what you can do and then deliver it, then the other person's happy, because that's all you wanted. So, ultimately, these are things we all have to learn. I think the last three are all related to each other. They're about your boundaries, knowing your lane, right? You don't need to do all things to all people, but knowing what it is that you're an expert in that you can give to the world. So these would be my things that I would share with my nuggets of wisdom.
Thank you so much. And the depth of what you shared is just so amazing. It's about your character. It's about, your focus, being focused as an entrepreneur, and, and just knowing Faye personally, I know that she's really speaking from her heart and the reality of who she is. Thank you so much for sharing with us. In the interest of time, and I hope you guys are enjoying everything that you're hearing, because we want to have an opportunity for you to give you an opportunity to address to ask questions of our speakers, our panelists today. So we're going to move over to the Q&A section right now. I have my team members who are ready with the questions that you've all been posting. And so if you don't mind, Shola, do you want to go ahead and share the first question with us? And so we can direct and let us know if the question is directed to a particular person. If not, I can channel it out as appropriate. Go ahead, Shola.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Okay. The very first question is, how did you secure funding for your business? I think this question was for Mrs. Aderoju. How did you secure funding for your business?
Thank you.
Okay, I'm still looking for funding, but but I've been able to secure some sort of funding over the years. The first one I got was when, fresh into my business. I applied for a competition with the Wimbies organization. And I just, gave it my everything. I went and I pitched and I shared my plan. And, for me, it was very important, because I got feedback later that, it was what I was sharing as to my, not now, but the plan that I had for my business going forward that gave me that edge over everybody else. So, they could see that, I had thought it through. I didn't take it like, as Fumi said, I didn't take it like just want to teach people how to swim. But I was very direct, because I told them at that pitch that I was going to build the first aquatic center in Nigeria. And this was how it's going to look. This is how I had drawings. Wow. And this was like, 4 months into my business, so, that they were like, okay, you're obviously serious about what you were doing. And then also, because, in the sports industry, there's not a lot of opportunities. We're struggling with, every other person. But my main source of funding has been from grants, and really from people, people that are invested in the business, that were like, okay, you know what, I love your dream. I see how we can help. We don't have anything like that in Nigeria. I see where it's going. I see the opportunities, and I'm ready to pitch in to help you. So, and that came out of nowhere as well. The person actually had been watching me and watching what I was doing, and then called me for a meeting one day and said, you know what, tell me really what this is about. And when I shared my dreams and my plan, going back to that plan, it was not a 200-page document, I assure you. I think it was just like a 6-page or 7-page document, but it had everything that I could possibly think about. You know, if this wasn't working, what's the other plan? What's the other plan? And, you know, yeah.
Awesome. I love it. You know, just a practical example of, you know, again, having that plan. For me, also mentioned, hey, you're going to your investors, you know, think about it, go and watch Shark Tank. Think about what you do if you're going to sit in front of them and, you know, stand in front of them and, you know, make sure you do your homework. Amazing, amazing doors, you know, and when doors open to us, we, you know, our gifts make room for us, right? Before kings, and you have to be able to present your gift and present your vision. Awesome. All right, next question. I love it.
Okay. The second question, well, is very similar to the first one. The person asked, are people still funding in this COVID environment? It seems like everyone is keeping cash.
Fumi, do you want to take that?
I did see that question and I remember thinking, oh, okay. Well, I think it depends. It really does depend on what works in your country. One thing I do know is most of the countries, US, UK, Canada, all came up with schemes and grants and all of that for small business owners. So what I would always say is you say you're a business owner or you have a business, you need to have been all over that, you know, what those provisions were. So it is true that individuals are maybe holding on to their cash. I know I am. But what we used, so using our, you know, my business as an example, what I did was our business is all about face-to-face. You have to see the people to give them the cars. So how do you operate as a business when you're not allowed to engage or interact with people? And then on lockdown. But what had happened was, because we had started seeing the news around the world, we had started changing the business model to peer-to-peer version. So everything moved online and individuals could do that. So the business still could exist even with everything that's happened. Otherwise, I think we would have been so impacted that we would have had to close up shop for 4 months, not being able to. So that's one side, being able to think ahead and then say, how does this affect my business? But the second point, and I remember mentioning this to someone, is that it's amazing the amount of grants and financial aid that is available for small businesses. It's mind-boggling. And I spent 3 months just researching that and studying that. There's a lot of money on the table that we don't take. So even though as an established business with employees, I made sure I found a grant that applied to us, and I went after it and I got it. So yes, there is funding available for your business. Just research it, see what's available, see if you meet the criteria. And if there are things where it's just a tiny bit for you to get into the criteria, then do what you need to do to qualify. Awesome. I hope that's helpful.
Kemi, can I add to that?
Absolutely. So go ahead.
So I, you know, exactly what Fumi said. So in Nigeria, we had the COVID-19 relief grant loan available, and I remember we're also skeptical about it, but you know, I applied, you know, even though it took quite a lot of process and everything. I and a few of my, I'm in a startup group, and, you know, a few of us in there, you know, we actually did get the funding. So, you know, it's there. There is money available on the table. I guess, as Fumi said, you just really need to go for it.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. So if you're in Nigeria, hey, if you're in the UK, in the US, I know for a fact that there is money and there are grants, and you know, there, you know, if it's for the Small Business Administration office. So all right, let's go to the next question, Shola.
Okay, the third question, I think this is also for Mrs. Aderoju. Why did you focus on teaching swimming to women and children?
This is a very interesting question. It was mainly influenced by two major things: my husband and the culture, the religious and social culture in Nigeria. Really, you know how it is when. So I remember when I had this plan and I told my husband, "Oh, I wanted to teach swimming," and he says, "Oh, so who are you teaching?" I said, "Oh, I'm teaching people swimming." He said, "No, who are you teaching swimming?" I said, "Okay, everybody, male, female." He said, "No, that it doesn't think it will be okay, that one, for my own safety, going to someone else's home and maybe teaching a male and something happens and I'm unfortunately I can't help myself and things like that." And he said, "You know what, even apart from that, let's take it back to the social and religious preferences. People are just generally more comfortable with other women. We're going to be in our swimsuits. We're just, generally more comfortable, with other in Nigeria anyway. And then I took the idea and I tested it among a few people, and the response was overwhelming, because one of the very first things people ask you when they want to learn how to swim, who is your instructor? Male or female? That's the very, as in, I bet you, is like the top question that's been asked. So when we tell them that, oh, we're female led, we're female instructors teaching women and children only, it just takes us up like several, notches, and that niche, we're not even able to, fully maximize, the opportunities in that niche. So really, I think when you just find something that works for you, go for it. It might seem weird or awkward, but it's the door that God has opened for you, and walk through it confidently.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. We have our next question. It is, Adeshola, do you want to share it? And I think we'll pass this on to Faye. Go ahead.
Okay. How do you balance starting a business with other responsibilities and obligations like family, work, church? How are you able to balance everything?
Faye, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, this is for me?
Yes, we can hear you now. We can hear you now. Okay.
No, I just didn't know this was for me. Sorry, I'm
sorry.
I didn't know it was for me. But I do have, for me, it's using tools, right? So first, knowing what my constraints are. My constraints are, for me, I actually work. I still work. I decided to go back to working. And I am a manager in an IT department, as well as running my business, mostly because I want to pay off my house as fast as possible. So pretty much all of my excesses goes into my mortgage. But basically, for me, I know my constraints, that I'm busy until usually 4:30 every day. I give myself 30 minutes of breathing time. So when I open my calendar for people to book time with me, it starts at 5, 5 to 9. I know I have church meetings on certain days at 7 o'clock. So on those days, I've blocked it out. If someone says, oh, hey, let's go get dinner together, I block it out. So I block out the things that are important to me. And then the rest of the time people can select. And I know that might sound backwards, but I mean, I don't know if anyone's seen that analogy of where there's a jar and you're supposed to fill it with what's important to you first, right? If you fill the jar with sand first, there's no space for rocks, there's no space for pebbles. But if you start with rocks, then you can have space for pebbles, then you can have space for sand. For me, I've just decided, even though I'm not married yet, that my life still matters to me. I always said, I don't want to remember my 20s for working. I don't want to remember my 30s for just working. I want to do other things. So when someone says they want to do something, I put it on my calendar first. If I have a church meeting, as long as it's scheduled and I know in advance it's not a last minute thing, I put it on my calendar first so that no one else can take that time. And then, I mean, that still leaves a lot of hours a week. I still usually have at least 10 hours available. My meetings are usually an hour, so it's plenty of time. And I don't really get many complaints. So for me, that's big. I mean, I think it starts from getting a handle on your own schedule, and then you can work with other people.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. Tools. Boundaries.
And I use Google. I use Google Calendar, by the way. So I use Google Calendar.
I love Google.
To manage my schedule. I can access it on my phone. I can access it on email, and I use a tool called Calendly. I use that to for people to schedule time on my calendar. So I just send them that link, and then whenever you schedule it, that's the time you have.
All right. Awesome. I mean, I love Google Calendars too. It's a lifesaver. You can share your calendar. I share my calendar with my husband, and so he knows our appointments. We don't have to discuss it. It just flows. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Faye, for sharing. One last question. So, in the interest of time, I want to be very respectful of everybody's time. We have one more question from Aderoju for Aderoju. What did you do during the shutdown what did you do during the shutdown with your swim school? It's a question from the YouTube. We have a YouTube community. We have a bunch of people, logging in and engaging through YouTube. So this is one for you specifically,
Okay.
Aderoju.
So quickly during during the lockdown, we couldn't do much, but it got me. But you know what? I did exactly what Fumi was saying. So instead of at that time, I used it to work on the business. So we fine-tuned all our business processes. I got the services of a business improvement manager, who helped me, really made the processes really tight. We closed up all the loopholes, and then we started thinking, okay, what will be the new normal? Everybody's been talking about the new normal post-COVID. What do we do? How do we position ourselves? And then I had to think of pivoting, so we then had to start thinking, okay, really, how many people have pools in their homes? How can we reach those people? How can we go to them and ensure that we're still, offering our services? So that's what we spent our time doing, really. And so we're still closed, but now we're working, because now we're offering at-home services. We offer online services as well for our competitive swimmers. So we had the time to think and strategize.
Awesome. Wow, thank you so much. I have one more. I'm going to do one bonus question for Fumi. So I just want to, just a quick one. If you can just do it like in 30 seconds, or 1 minute maybe. How do you find the right people to hire? Just very quickly so that we can close off. How do you find the right people to hire?
People who align to your why.
Okay.
People who have the skills. I think Faye mentioned that. So even if they align to your why, don't have the skills, then they're not the right people. They can be in your friend and support network, not necessarily to hire. And the third one, who have the professionalism that helps you get from your point A to point B. So one, they align with your why, i.e. they buy into the idea, the vision, or the passion. Two, they have the required skills and competencies. And then three, they have the professionalism to help you take your why and their skills to that destination.
Yeah, I love it. What came to mind as you were speaking there was having that ownership mindset. You want somebody who will work for you like it's their own company. Is that a right way another way to say it?
It is, but there's a loophole in that, because you have someone who has an ownership mindset, but if they have a bad ownership mindset, they will transfer that into your business. They can treat it like their own. It doesn't mean that their own is good.
Is alignment. Yep.
So I hear you. Careful if it's their own and they don't have the ability to be professional or to respond to emails or to do things in a timely and orderly manner. They will take that and then bring it into
bring the negativity. So the positive ownership mindset, or the right ownership mindset, if you want to use that term at all. Awesome. Yeah. But get your point. Thank you so much. All right. So awesome insights. I know we have a lot of questions, so I'll be the first to say we do apologize. We can't get through all the questions, otherwise we'll be here all day. And we know you have other things to attend to, and of course as speakers, have other things to attend to. So we'll just move very quickly into just the last couple of items here. But just very quickly, Aderoju, quick 30-second last minute thoughts, and how anybody can reach you if they want to.
Okay, so my last minute thoughts, when the Bible says your gift will make room for you, we always think that the gift it's going to just work like that. But what I've come to understand is that gift builds into your skill, and that skill brings you before mighty men who would then create the room. That skill will create the room for you and make you stand before mighty men. So I just want to encourage everybody, be committed to your gift, work your gift, and it will turn into such a amazing skill that would,
Yeah.
can't help but create room for you and bring you before mighty men. And
Amen to
yes,
that.
how to contact me by email and my Instagram.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much. Fumi, over to you. We're gonna skip Faye because I believe Faye had to drop off. I don't know, Faye, are you still here? You
Yeah,
hadn't. Oh, you're still here. Thank you. Whoa, I thought you had to leave. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, you can connect with me on the best way to connect with me would be through my website, fayeshala.com. If you click the link I shared in the chat, you can see right there, there's a contact form. That's the best way to reach me. That'll send me
Okay.
an email. Otherwise, I do have YouTube content. I have lots of videos about marketing, about lots of things. You can also access that from my website to get access to those free resources. And yeah, I guess as a closing statement, I would just say, set aside time and do the work. Even if it's 1 hour a day, that's
Mm,
better than working 10 hours for one day and then doing nothing else. So, that
mm,
consistency is critical. It doesn't have to be, working forever in one day, but even if you just set aside 1 hour every day and do something
mm.
in that time, you'll make progress.
I love it. Consistency. In consistency lies power. Very good.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. And she does have a very vibrant YouTube channel. I love it. It's very insightful, lots of great information, and I love the way it's organized too. So thank you so much, Faye. And finally, Fumi.
Yes, so I think I'll just say my parting note to everyone is in knowing that, there is always an opportunity to invest in yourself and in your business, because many
Mm,
times we think about how people can pay us for our passion and can pay us for our idea, but sometimes you need to build the bridge between what you know and what you need to know to get people to pay you what you're worth.
awesome.
So I would say I've always never played with, the correct coaching, belonging to the right
Mhm.
community where you can be built up, but in the way that really holds you up. So make a plan to invest in yourself. I can be rich from my website, femionamusi.com. So that's my personal website, not my company website, because obviously
Got
that's
it.
what services that we offer. But for my personal website, I can be reached there. I am planning to launch a business bootcamp for new business owners, because I want to say hundreds, but that's an exaggeration. I get at least 10 emails every week from people asking about business ideas and how do I grow my business to be a success like yours has. And so I'm going to be doing a boot camp for existing business owners to sort of
Okay.
help them think about all of the things they need to consider
Okay.
to be able to get ready to hit that first six-figure turnaround.
Awesome. And they can, if they go to your website, they can go through your contact information, right?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I don't know about you all, but I have been, just wow, that just so much insight, so much knowledge, experience in the room. I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you for taking the time out to talk to us and share your knowledge with us. I'm going to turn this over to Remy, who's going to close us out. But again, to our speakers, to our participants, just want to say, just from me, Kemi, I want to say thank you so much. Really been nice just engaging with you. Over to you, Remy.
Thank you, Kemi, and thanks to our amazing business coaches. It's been such an insightful session, lots of nuggets. If you missed any of the points, don't worry, the session is recorded and the link will be shared. So feel free to watch this again and share it across your network. A couple of announcements before we wrap up quickly. First off, we have an EPR business directory. So this is a platform where you can promote your business and services. The link is up now, and I believe it has been shared or will be shared in the chat as well. So feel free to take an opportunity of this amazing offer. Also, we would like some feedback on the session. So please do fill in the survey session. I believe the link will be posted as well in the chat. Now to some fun stuff. So we are going to choose the best hair piece. I don't know if Faye is still on. Are you still there, Faye? We would like you to help us with this. Please, I would encourage you all to please turn on your cameras. Let's see your beautiful faces, your lovely hair pieces. And also, yes, let's just see so that we can select the
Yeah.
best
So
headpiece.
so Faye had to leave.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let me
For me,
turn.
do you want to do the honors?
For me? Did you say for me?
Yes, please.
I don't have a headpiece.
I know you don't, which is why, yes, it will be a fair one. So at least
Okay.
then you get to look at all the ladies and then you get to select who's got the best headpiece.
Best headpiece. Okay. All
So
right.
ladies, don't be shy. Let's see your beautiful faces.
Okay. Can I just say that my first prize would have been Faye, but
Yeah.
yeah. Let me then. I'll just then choose from the list. I can see her name. I love Nanji Temlong's piece because it's
Yeah.
purple. Purple
Oh,
is royal, and I like
nice.
the way it frames your face.
Congratulations.
Brilliant. Well done, Naji.
Yay.
Well
All
done.
right.
That is indeed a beautiful hairpiece. Thank you, ladies, and thanks for
Thank you.
making an effort as well. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. So back to the announcement. So we would also like to encourage you to take a pledge. So what are the key takeaways from today's session, and what are the next steps? So for example, are you going to write a business plan? Are you going to seek some advice on your business ideas from your trusted friends and associates? So make sure that you do something today. So don't just walk away from this session, and not do anything. Take action, do something with what you've heard and learned today. Also, we just want to,
Sorry?
also,
Okay. Go ahead.
sorry, okay. Also, we just want to make you aware of our next event. So we have an Instagram live conversation next week, Saturday, the 25th of July, and it will be via the Esther preparation room page on Instagram. So watch out for that. Also, our next webinar will be on Saturday, the 15th of August, and it's going to be at the same time. So please save the date and we will share more information in the coming weeks. Also, we would like to give you some information on how you can engage with EPR. Like we said before, EPR is a women's network where we try and empower women and encourage them to be their best, really, in their professional and personal lives. So every Monday at 5 a.m. BST and 12 a.m. EST, we have what we call Command the Week, which is a Monday morning prayer, and that's a very good way to to set the tone for the week. Also, every Saturday, we have prayer at 7 a.m. EST and 12 p.m. BST. This is just a time of prayer and worship. Also, if you'd like to partner with us, you can donate via our portal. The page is up, and also you can give via PayPal to eprglobal.uk@gmail.com. You can also contact us via email at eprministry@gmail.com. So that's all for today. Also, stay connected with us on our various social media platforms, on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube at Esther's Preparations Room. Thank you all so much for your time, and thanks to our amazing speakers. It's been great to have you all. And for the winner of the headgear competition, I believe that we have made a note of your name. You would be getting a prize. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Remy. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend and enjoy the rest of your tea.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.